The rain started before I saw the lights. Cold, sharp, relentless. By the time the storm fully broke, the sky had turned black, and the road beneath my feet had turned into thick, unforgiving mud. Each step felt heavier than the last. My dress soaked through, clinging to me like a second skin. I had nowhere else to go. "Just keep walking," I whispered to myself. My voice nearly lost in the thunder. Lightning cracked across the sky, illuminating the land for a split second, and that was when I saw it. A cabin, small, isolated. But standing hope. I stumbled toward it, my legs weak, my hands trembling from cold and exhaustion. The rain pounded harder, as if trying to push me back, as if testing whether I truly meant to survive the night. I reached the door and knocked once, twice, for a moment. Nothing then. Footsteps. The door opened slowly. He stood there, tall, broad-shouldered, silent. His dark hair was damp, his shirt slightly open at the collar, and his eyes, sharp and unreadable, studied me in a single glance. I swallowed. I need shelter," I said, my voice barely steady. "Just for the night." He didn't answer immediately. The rain filled the silence between us. Then he stepped aside. "Come in." The warmth hit me instantly. The cabin smelled of wood and smoke, the fire burning steadily in the corner. I stepped inside, my body almost collapsing from relief alone. "Close the door," he said. I did. For a moment, neither of us spoke. I stood there, dripping onto his wooden floor, unsure of what to say or what he expected. "You'll get sick standing like that," he said finally. "Sit." I moved toward the fire slowly, lowering myself onto the chair beside it. My hands hovered near the flames, trembling as the warmth slowly returned to them. "Thank you," I whispered. He nodded once. "Name?" he asked. "Clara." He took a moment before answering. "Roman." The name lingered. I had heard it before. Not from him, from others. Roman Hale, a man who lived alone, a man who didn't trust easily, a man who needed something. "You're far from town," he said. I didn't have a choice. Most people say that. I looked at him. "I mean it." He studied me for a moment longer, then turned away. "Eat," he said, placing a simple plate on the table. I hadn't realized how hungry I was until that moment. I didn't hesitate. The storm didn't stop. If anything, it grew stronger. Thunder shook the walls, and the wind howled like something alive outside. "You can stay the night," Roman said after a while. Relief washed over me. "Thank you." "But," he added, his tone firm, "you leave at sunrise." The words landed heavier than I expected. "I understand." But I didn't. Not really. Time passed slowly. The fire burned lower. The storm raged on. And the silence between us grew complicated. "You're not just passing through," Roman said suddenly. It wasn't a question. "No," I admitted. "What are you running from?" I hesitated. Then, "Men who don't ask before they take." His jaw tightened slightly. "I see." "And you?" I asked quietly. "Why live out here alone?" He didn't answer right away. Then, "I don't like people." I almost smiled. "That's not the truth." His eyes met mine. "And you know the truth?" he asked. "No," I said softly. "But I know when someone is hiding it." Something shifted in his expression. Not anger, recognition. The night deepened. At some point, the storm changed, not louder. Closer, Roman stood suddenly. "What is it?" I asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he moved toward the window, his posture tense. "Stay where you are," he said quietly. My heart began to race. "What's wrong?" He reached for his rifle. "That storm isn't the only thing out there." And then I heard it hooves. My breath caught. "No," I whispered. Roman turned to me. "They followed you." Panic surged through me. "I didn't know." "I believe you," he said quickly. "But it doesn't change anything." The sound grew louder, closer. "They won't stop," I said. Roman's expression hardened. "They don't have to." He stepped toward the door. They just made a mistake. The first knock wasn't polite. It was a demand. "Open up!" a voice shouted. Roman didn't move. "Last chance," the voice added. Silence, then the door shook violently. Roman looked at me once. "Stay behind me." The door burst open. Rain and wind rushed in with the men, 3 of them, armed, dangerous. "There she is," one said. Pointing at me, Roman stepped forward. "No," he said calmly. The man laughed. "You planning to stop us?" Roman didn't answer. He didn't need to. The next moment, everything exploded. Gunfire, shouts, chaos. I dropped to the floor, my heart pounding in my ears. Roman moved like a storm of his own, fast, precise, unrelenting. By the time it ended, the silence returned, but it wasn't the same. It was heavier. Final. The storm outside began to fade. Inside, everything had changed. "You should have left," I said quietly. Roman shook his head. "No." "Why?" I asked. He looked at me for a long moment. Then, "Because I don't leave people behind." The words settled deep inside me, and for the first time since the rain began, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Safe. Fee-ending morning came slowly. The storm was gone, the world washed clean, but I didn't leave, and he didn't ask me to, because sometimes you don't find shelter from the storm. You find someone who stands in it with you. Morning didn't feel like a beginning. It felt like something unfinished. The rain had stopped, but the air still carried its weight, cold, damp, and quiet in a way that made every small sound feel louder. I stood by the doorway, looking out at the washed earth, the mud reflecting the pale light of dawn. I should have left. That had been the agreement, but my feet didn't move. "You're still here." Roman's voice came from behind me, low and steady. I didn't turn immediately. "So are you," I replied, a pause. Then his boots stepped closer, stopping just behind me. "I live here," he said. I let out a quiet breath. I know. Silence settled between us again, but it wasn't the same silence as before. It wasn't filled with fear. It was heavier than that. More complicated. "I don't have anywhere to go," I said finally. There the truth, Roman didn't answer right away. Instead, he stepped past me, out onto the porch, his eyes scanning the distance like he expected the danger to return at any moment. "They'll come back," he said. "I know. They won't stop looking for you." "I know that too." Another silence. Then, "Stay." The word was simple, but it carried weight. I turned to him. "What?" He faced me now, his expression unreadable. "Stay here," he said again. "Until this is over." I searched his face. "And when it's over," his gaze shifted just slightly. "You decide." Days passed, not many, but enough for things to change. The cabin no longer felt choose. It felt lived in, shared. I helped with small things, cooking, cleaning, gathering wood. Roman didn't ask, but he didn't stop me either. And slowly, the space between us grew smaller. "You work like you've done this before," he said one afternoon as I carried water inside. "I've done worse," I replied. He nodded. I believe that. There was no pity in his voice, just understanding. And somehow, that meant more. But peace in the West never lasted. The signs came quietly, tracks near the trees, a broken branch where there shouldn't have been one. The way Roman's posture changed, subtle but constant. "They're watching," I said one evening. He didn't deny it. "No," he said, "they're waiting." "For what?" His eyes met mine. For the right moment. That night, the fire burned brighter than usual. Not for warmth, for readiness. Roman cleaned his rifle slowly, methodically. "You've been in fights before," I said. He didn't look up. "Yes." "How many?" "Enough." That wasn't the answer I wanted. "Why?" I pressed. He finally looked at me. "Because sometimes fighting is the only way to protect what matters." The words lingered. "What matters to you?" I asked softly. He didn't answer. Not right away. Then, you're still here. My breath caught, because that wasn't just an observation. It was something else, something real. The proposal came the next morning, not the way I expected. No softness, no hesitation, just truth. If you stay, Roman said, standing in the doorway, it won't be as just a guest. I frowned slightly. What do you mean? He stepped closer. I need a wife. The words landed heavy, not romantic, not gentle, practical. Why? I asked. Because alone, he said. This place doesn't survive. And with a wife, it does? Yes. I studied him carefully. You're asking me to marry you for survival? I'm asking you to stay, he corrected. The rest comes with it. Silence. You don't even know me, I said. I know enough. And what's that? That you didn't run when you had the chance. I looked away. That doesn't mean I belong here. No, he said quietly. But it means you could. The choice wasn't easy. Nothing about this life was. But leaving? Leaving meant going back to fear, to running, to being hunted, and staying. Staying meant something else. Something I wasn't ready to name. I'll stay, I said finally. Roman didn't smile, but something in his expression softened. Then we do this right, he said. The peace didn't last. It never did. They came again. Not 3 this time. More, armed, prepared. They know, I whispered. Roman nodded. They always did. The tension in the air felt different now. Not fear. War. You should go, he said suddenly. No, his eyes snapped to mine. This isn't your fight. Yes, I said firmly. It is. Silence. Then, he nodded. Then we stand together. The first shot rang out just before sunset, and everything changed.